Is Xi Jinping winning the diplomatic contest against Donald Trump by drawing another U.S. partner closer to Beijing? Is Beijing strengthening ties with a key neighbor despite years of maritime disputes and strategic rivalry? Are some of Washington's regional partners recalibrating their positions as China's influence continues to grow? Is Vietnam prioritizing stable relations with China as a cornerstone of regional security and economic growth? Is China successfully transforming former rivals into strategic partners as U.S.-China competition intensifies across Asia? Vietnam signaled closer ties with China despite ongoing disputes in the South China Sea during a Reuters interview with its top leader. Vietnam's president said stronger relations with China would contribute to regional peace, stability, and long-term security in Asia. Lam made the remarks in his first interview with an international media organization since assuming the country's top leadership role. Lam said, and I quote, "We do not pick sides. If we can maintain good relations and dialogue, then all disagreements can be resolved. Having good relations with China, safeguarding our sovereignty and settlement of issues in the East Sea are mutually reinforcing, not mutually exclusive." Unquote. Lam added there was no contradiction between improving ties with China and defending Vietnam's sovereignty and national interests. Hanoi reaffirmed its support for the UN Convention on the Law of the Sea as the basis for resolving maritime disputes. China claims large parts of the South China Sea, areas that are also claimed by Vietnam and several other regional states. The Philippines, Malaysia, Brunei, and Taiwan also maintain competing territorial claims in the strategically important waterway. Notably, the United States and Vietnam share similar concerns regarding Beijing's expansive claims in the South China Sea. Washington and Hanoi maintain a comprehensive strategic partnership, although the relationship is not a formal military alliance. Meanwhile, Lam described competition between the United States and China as an objective reality in global affairs. Lam said Vietnam does not view its relationships with major powers solely through the lens of security competition. Lam emerged as Vietnam's most powerful leader in decades after assuming dual leadership positions within the state and party. The Vietnamese leader delivered the keynote address at the Shangri Dialogue Security Forum held in Singapore. It marked the first time a Vietnamese Communist Party chief addressed the Shangri Dialogue, Asia's premier defense forum.
Regarding the South China Sea, Vietnam's position is consistent, clear, and principled. Vietnam supports resolving all disputes and disagreements through peaceful measures. Every initiative that contributes to peace, stability, and development should be welcomed if it is transparent, respects international law, complements one another, and does not undermine ASEAN's central role or turn Southeast Asia into a space for confrontation between blocs. ASEAN's central role does not come by default and is also not self-sustaining. Asia-Pacific is an open space. All countries with legitimate interests can contribute to peace, stability, and development. The region welcomes a presence that is transparent, responsible, respects international law, and supports the role. We also consider this as the initial steps to resolving these difficulties. I think that if this conflict continues to drag on, it will cause great difficulties, not only for Vietnam, but for the whole region and many other countries as well.
On May 28, Armenia officially demonstrated Chinese CH-4 Rainbow drones for the very first time, putting them on open display and confirming months of rumors about a quiet acquisition. A video released from the Independence Day parade shows the drones slowly moving past a reviewing stand, giving viewers a clear look at the new aircraft that have suddenly joined Armenia's arsenal. Until this parade, Armenia had never officially announced the purchase of these Chinese drones, making their surprise debut a de facto confirmation of a previously secret defense deal. Two of the CH-4 drones were shown on parade fully equipped with AR-1 and AR-2 air-to-surface missiles, underscoring that these platforms are not symbolic showpieces but combat-ready strike assets. The CH-4 Rainbow is already in service with countries like Algeria, Congo, Pakistan, Ethiopia, Indonesia, and Myanmar, and Armenia now appears to be joining this club of nations relying on Chinese strike drones. There are two main versions of the CH-4, a dedicated reconnaissance model for surveillance and intelligence, and a multipurpose variant capable of both spying and launching precision strikes. However, It remains unclear which specific version Armenia has received, leaving analysts guessing whether Yerevan has prioritized deep reconnaissance, precision strike capability, or a mix of both. Details of the China-Panama relationship were reported by the South China Morning Post on May 29, which laid out recent diplomatic moves, economic overtures, and the strategic context behind Panama's decision to pursue closer ties with China. Panamanian President José Raúl Mulino expressed hopes of easing tensions with Beijing, saying his administration aims to restore constructive engagement, expand trade opportunities, and reduce bilateral friction through careful diplomacy. China-Panama relations saw their most serious strain since 2017, driven largely by disputes over Panamanian ports and disagreements that exposed competing economic and regulatory priorities between the two capitals. Apart from bilateral ties, the two nations have sought to renew a key maritime agreement, negotiating terms intended to facilitate shipping, port access, and operational cooperation that are vital to Panama's role as a global transit hub. The 2018 Maritime Agreement grants Panama Most Favored Nation status in Chinese ports, a designation that promises preferential treatment and stronger commercial privileges for Panamanian-flagged vessels calling at Chinese harbors. Preferential tariffs and streamlined procedures will be used for Panamanian-flagged vessels, measures designed to lower costs, speed cargo movement, and make Panama an even more attractive partner in international shipping networks. China's Wang Yi and Panama's Foreign Minister Javier Martinez Archer met in New York on May 27, holding talks that officials say covered diplomatic, economic, and maritime issues as both sides explored ways to stabilize and deepen bilateral ties. Panama's president described the meeting between the foreign ministers as a transcendental step, framing the encounter as a pivotal moment that could reset relations with Beijing and open the door to broader cooperation on trade, ports, and regional diplomacy. Panama's president said, and I quote, "There is no reason for Panama and its relationship with China to become the axis or pivot of problems between two immense countries such as the United States and China." During the meeting, Wang warned that no third party should interfere with China-Panama relations, stressing Beijing's expectation that bilateral ties proceed without outside pressure or meddling that could complicate their growing cooperation. Wang added that Beijing was willing to deepen cooperation with Panama and to eliminate external interference, offering expanded economic and diplomatic engagement while urging respect for Panama's sovereign choices free from third country influence. At the Shangri Forum in Singapore, Trump's war chief Pete Hegseth criticized China's hegemonic ambitions while carefully sidestepping specific Taiwan commitments. Pete Hegseth took a tough stance on China but avoided directly addressing the Taiwan issue during his remarks at the forum.
The era of the United States subsidizing the defense of wealthy nations is over. We need partners, not protectorates. This region has profound implications for U.S. security and prosperity. It's the world's largest and most dynamic market area. It's why our national defense strategy directs the Department of War to set the military conditions required to achieve a lasting and favorable balance of power in the Pacific region. A mutual understanding that a Pacific dominated by any hegemon would unravel the regional balance of power and undermine the equilibrium we all seek to preserve. A favorable but durable balance of power in which no state, including China, can impose its hegemony and hold the security or prosperity of our nation and our allies in question. Under President Trump's leadership, relations between the United States and China are better than they've been in many years. President Trump and this administration seek a stable peace, fair trade, and respectful relations with China. We are meeting more frequently with our Chinese counterparts. By maintaining open lines of military-to-military communication, we can coordinate, deconflict, and reduce the risk of miscalculation. And we insist that China respect our long-standing position in the region, and not just insist, but maintain the manifest military strength to underwrite it. Our military posture will be resilient, distributed, and optimized to deny quick, decisive gains through military force. This is the logic of strategy. And it's the essence of peace through strength, and the foundation of a durable peace in the Pacific that benefits all of us. For too long, the security of this region has rested disproportionately on American military power, while many of our allies and partners allowed their own defense capabilities to atrophy. Alliances only work when they are true partnerships. It is a two-way street, You don't have a strong alliance unless everyone has skin in the game. No freeloading. History is not over. We don't need more conferences. We need more combat power. I'm sorry to say this here. Less Shangri-La, more ships, more subs. For too long, polite pleas from our European allies to spend more on their own defense fell on deaf ears. They are finally playing catch-up, and we let ourselves get distracted by empty globalist rhetoric about the rules-based international order. We applaud the pragmatism and leadership demonstrated by Seoul. The region will be far more stable and more secure when other allies and partners follow that path. We have high expectations of our Japanese allies, and together we can and must each pull our weight to strengthen the U.S.-Japan alliance.